Hello everyone, and welcome to Radio Free QuickBooks TV, televised version of RFQ, and I want to thank everybody for listening to RFQ over the last 2 years. It's been a lot of fun, and hopefully these episodes are helping you out online. My name is Woody Adams. I've been a product specialist with Intuit for about 8 years, dealing mostly in the QuickBooks realm, and of course, on with me, co-founders, co-producers, co-everything of Radio Free QuickBooks, Stacy Kildal, W Brolin, and Stacy, how are you doing today?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
Oh, good.
Good.
Very good. Having
really
a lot of fun. Yep. Someone stole my RFQ shirt though. Wanted to let you know. Not sure what happened with that, but we'll get on that another time. Yeah, very good. Don Brolin, how's it going?
I'm awesome. Thanks. I'm great. Yeah, are you kidding me? Had an awesome dinner last night with some very fun dudes.
Yep.
I'm in Texas. You can say dudes.
Right, of course.
Right. So who I'm not is I'm not a dude. So I'm just gonna go right with that.
Awesome.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's great.
And how are the bodyguards that I got you guys working out?
They're great. Really great.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
gentle on
totally
us.
safe.
Pretty rough on the others.
Yeah,
I gotta say.
And from my shirt episode, I should have overlooked getting mine.
Right. Yeah.
But no one takes the prophet seriously in their own country, so I figured who would care?
Yeah.
Right about New York, because I'm based in Atlanta.
Yeah, it was cool with the tinted windows and everything this morning.
Good.
You know,
Oh, very good. Well, we're really excited today for this episode because we're going to be actually talking with Avalara, and we have Ian Clyde from Avalara Tax, Avatax Analyst. Ian, how you doing? And thanks for coming on the show.
Woody, thank you.
Yeah, we're very happy to have you. You're coming all the way in from, I hear Seattle, I guess.
Yep, Bainbridge Island, Washington.
Beautiful.
Avalara's headquartered.
Awesome. And of course, Ray, Vice President, is with you here in tow, so we won't bring Ray on, but I wanted to do a shout out there. So for the audience, can you go ahead and introduce, because we've had you on the show before, but just for everybody to be watching, can you introduce yourself and give a little bit of your history, then we'll talk about Avalara.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Ian Clyde. I'm a sales manager with Avalara. I've been here for about 5 years, and I manage our QuickBooks market space. So I work with all the companies that buy Avatax for QuickBooks Direct, as well as all of the accountants and advisors that recommend using Avatax.
Excellent. Very cool. And I've seen you at the conferences over the years too.
Right.
All the different conferences, etc. And Avalara for me, I mean, I've been supporting QuickBooks since 2005, technically, and I started out in support, and that was always a third party we would recommend when you needed it. And we'll get into that more, but the sophistication you guys bring, and you have an answer for almost any kind of sales tax issue, and we'll get into that in a sec. Can you explain kind of the history of Avalara and how was it founded, and then?
Yeah, absolutely. So Avalara was founded or started about 10 years ago by Rory Rawlings, Scott McFarlane, and Jared Vogt. The technical founder, Rory, built a tax engine for the Boeing Corporation back in the early 1990s, and then in the late 1990s built an online tax engine for a major e-commerce company that had nationwide tax compliance requirements.
Okay.
When he built that tax engine, he recognized that, one, if he made it robust to handle all the components of sales tax, and secondly, which is the key here, built connectors to the major accounting applications, he'd be able to provide cost-effective sales tax compliance to the small and mid-sized business market. Up till that point, all that existed was expensive on-site software that was really designed for Fortune 1000 type companies. Expensive to implement, hard to use, expected you had a full IT and accounting staff to run it. So,
just to handle sales tax.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very good. So this resonates with you guys, right? Your clients, sales tax.
Yeah,
complexity.
absolutely, definitely. Yeah, we actually had Avalara on, and I think it was Shane, if I remember. Shane, wasn't it?
Right.
And of course, I had a blast with him on RFQ because compliance is so critical, and we've talked a little bit, Ian and I, about that it's such a big liability and a big responsibility that it's a niche that that I think that our clients depend on us to make sure that they are in compliance, and because it's so complicated.
Right.
A lot of accountants don't want to touch it. Yeah. You know, a lot of accountants don't wanna touch it, and there's just a big liability, so
Yeah.
compliance, we always talk about that,
We do.
because we have to be in
Absolutely.
compliance,
Yep.
yeah.
So what type of things is Avalara trying to solve for those? What do you?
So sales tax has 5 major challenges. The first one is nexus, which is simply, do you have a tie to a state that requires you to collect and remit their sales tax? That's the first challenge that a
Right.
business has. Do I need to collect or not collect
Yeah.
in any particular state? And that really comes down to whether you have any type of physical presence in that state. And what's really difficult there is the rules are different in
Yeah.
different states.
Right.
The reality is, in some states, if you simply go there for a single day for a trade show, you've created nexus, and you
Right.
should collect and remit
Yep.
sales tax in that
Right.
state if you sell into that state. The second area of challenge is assigning the correct tax rate. There are
Right.
about 20,000 tax jurisdictions in North America. I take that back. There's about 11,000 tax jurisdictions in
Right.
North America. About 20% of those change either the rate or the boundary every year. So if you have hundreds of customers,
Right.
it's really difficult to keep all those rates up to date
Yeah.
and assign the correct jurisdictions that go together to make up the composite tax rate.
Right.
Yeah, I wanted to ask a question
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
that, actually, the zip
Please.
coding, and I know we're gonna
Oh,
kinda get
yeah.
into that a little bit,
Yep.
but this goes right along with what you're saying. One of the awesome advantages of Avalara, what Avalara can do, is the zip code tracking.
Yeah.
But there's some pretty
Yeah,
huge
explain that.
complications that go along with that.
Yeah, actually, so the old school way of assigning tax jurisdictions is the zip code based model. The
Mhm.
problem is zip codes were built to deliver mail, not to assign tax jurisdictions.
Right.
So in a lot of
Fair
states
enough.
in a lot of states that works okay. Some states it doesn't work at all.
Right.
There are many states where if you do not have a rooftop level calculation, you're gonna either be inside or outside a city limit or a special taxing jurisdiction, and your tax rate's not gonna be right.
Right.
Avatax will take an address, turn it into a latitude and a longitude, it'll pinpoint it on the map, and it's the most accurate assignment of tax rates in the industry.
See, that's awesome.
That's
And
amazing.
they can actually go
So
to
cool.
your site and just click on it, comes up.
Yep.
And so I could go to Collin County, McKinney, and I would exactly know.
Yep. So if any of you wanna go to www.avataxrates.com, you can
Right.
take a look and see exactly how we do that.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and from a pro advisor standpoint, or you guys as consultants, people just need Avalara as, it's in your corner, right? I mean,
Yeah.
how else do you figure it out? As a small business, while you were talking, I was already overwhelmed, right? So,
Well, if
Yeah.
you think about it, it just goes right along with, I'll say QuickBooks and Lacert and Pro Series,
Right.
all of those softwares that we have available to us, we pay for
Right.
those softwares, right, in some way, shape, or form.
right.
Those are tools for us to do our job correctly. Avalara is part of that product line.
Mhm.
It's part of those tools. It's, you know, you don't go roof a house as a contractor and show up to the homeowner and go, hey, you got me a roofing gun and a ladder so I can get up on the roof? You know, you as the professional need to have those pieces in place and the tools in place. And
Avalara's one
Avalara
of
is
them.
got to be part of,
So-
like a CCH research engine,
Right.
but it's sales
Absolutely,
tax
well, in
specific.
fact, we provide that as well, and I'm glad that you mentioned that. So, we talked about whether you need to collect tax or not collect tax. Secondly, what's the correct rate?
Right,
The next piece of a sales tax calculation is what's taxable and what's not taxable.
right, exactly.
So, a simple example would be downloadable canned software. So, yeah, it's taxable,
Yeah.
last I checked, it could have changed in the last couple months.
Yeah.
Taxable in 33 states.
Right,
Now, 2 or 3 years ago, when I did a webinar on high-tech taxability, it was only 21 states. So the landscape is
Oh,
changing.
yes.
And there are many areas where product taxability is just very difficult. So medical devices, anything high-tech, anytime you're installing something into another state that you
Right.
sell, that may be that installation labor may or may not be taxable.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of different areas where taxability is a super big challenge, and it's also one of the areas where a company has their biggest risk. It's common, I talk to hundreds and hundreds of small businesses where they make the assumption that the rules in their home state carry to other states, and that is not a very good assumption to make.
no, absolutely.
And then if you go past that, you have a couple other challenges with sales tax. One is if you have tax exempt customers, you have to collect and manage exemption certificates.
Oh, yes,
Our
and
system
they're only
does that.
valid for 2 years, at least in Connecticut, I don't know where it is everywhere else.
Correct, and then.
So the problems aren't, I mean, sounds like some consistent challenges, but they're also change every single year, and you guys are always,
Yeah.
you have to be on top of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So the challenge is, and the last challenge is doing the tax returns. You gotta remit the money to the
Right,
state.
Mhm.
So when you talk about the challenges I just brought up, those are not new to today.
Right.
Those have been around for years. What's different today is the business landscape for sales tax. All of the states are starving for revenue. In fact, a personal friend of mine was the director of finance for the state of Washington, reporting directly to the governor. Back in
Yeah.
2009, I said, well, it must be tough in business. I keep seeing, we're in the government, I keep seeing on the news that the state is broke. I said, is that hard in your group? She said, it's not hard in my group. I just keep adding people. We just keep adding auditors. We're the ones who bring the money in.
Yes.
And so it's pretty common at this point with all states over the last 5 years, they've doubled or tripled their audit
Oh,
force.
definitely.
So
Definitely.
more and more companies are getting audited, and the technology allows the auditors to very quickly go through and see what is owed or what
Yeah.
should have been paid.
And Avalara is the answer. That's what I see. So let's, as far as QuickBooks integration, can you do a little demo on kind of Avatax, Avalara, and how it works with
Yeah,
QuickBooks? And then
great.
we'll sum up.
Absolutely. So Avatax is seamlessly integrated into QuickBooks. The integration is done and set up with a downloadable connector. That allows QuickBooks to talk to Avatax, which is a cloud-based tax engine. So if I just pull up an invoice and I add a few line items,
Right.
I'm going to put in a big computer, which is tangible personal property. It's going to be taxable everywhere.
Fair enough.
I did put digital downloadable software, and I have freight. So I'm shipping the big computer, and I'm going to ship into Southern California. So let me grab my Avatax demo company and change my ship to from Colorado, which has its own challenges, into
Nice.
Hollywood, California. So down here, which we're up here, we'll go.
Right.
When I hit save, you're gonna see it pop up a dialog box. What's
Oh, yeah.
happening is
Very
QuickBooks is calling out to Avatax in our
Right.
primary data center, calculating tax based upon the profile of my business that I
Right.
set up, so it's a demonstration company,
Mhm.
and it puts in the amount of tax. So in this case, it's showing $900 in sales
Yeah,
tax
right.
calculated. The beauty
That's awesome.
is that the person doing the invoicing does not have to know anything about sales tax. They don't have to be a sales tax expert. They do not have to
Yeah.
reference a worksheet of taxability
Yeah.
for the different line items. They do not have to go and look up make sure their tax rate for
Right.
that customer is correct.
And it looks like it completely is compatible with the multiple ship-to addresses you can have on your customers
can-
for that.
You know,
That's
as many
awesome.
ship-tos
Love that.
in the system as QuickBooks allows.
Sweet.
And one of the things I would like to also say is that we work with QuickBooks, all the different versions going back to
Right.
2006, and we also have a connector for QuickBooks Online.
Yes.
So the beauty here is we've completely circumnavigated the
Okay.
manual tax engine inside of QuickBooks in favor of Avatax.
Right.
So let's just pretend that you called me up and said, Ian, how did you come up with that $900 in tax you charged me?
Yeah.
Well, what I would do is I'd log into my Avatax account,
Okay.
I'd click right over to my transactions tab.
Okay.
But when I click into this transactions tab,
Mhm.
what you're gonna
Oh, yeah.
see is that it does default to the current day. And so it's gonna show you the one transaction
Right.
that I've run.
Right.
So in this transaction, you're gonna see that Avatax has automatically assigned the 3 tax jurisdictions that correspond to that address in Southern California, always up to date,
Nice.
to make up the composite sales tax rate. Secondly, line by line, it's gone through and determined taxability. So the big computer, taxable everywhere, is fully taxable. Downloadable software is not taxable in California yet. It will be, it's just a matter of time.
Right.
So Avatax knows that, it has all the
Yeah.
rules for all the jurisdictions in North America. It didn't charge tax on that. Thirdly, freight in
That's awesome.
California is
That's great.
not taxable unless you
That's
mark it up. So in this case, it did
Right.
not charge tax on freight.
So I just wanna make a
Yeah,
note
that's
that
pretty
no
cool.
one else in the universe knows all of that information.
Right.
I know.
There's not one person.
Right.
It's not, if we could do like the Matrix scenario and plug him in and plug, we can
Right,
all
right.
sit back in the chair and have our heads plugged in, someone else might be able to do it besides
And
him.
had I marked up the freight, it would have picked up the tax for that, because it already knows that.
Yeah, that's a setup,
that's-
that's a setup
yeah.
configuration. So if you
Nice.
mark
So
up your
it
freight,
answers
That's
for
great.
every
Exactly.
rabbit hole or
Oh, that's-
loophole,
that's
I can see
awesome.
that.
Mhm.
So for, and thanks for that demo, Ian. So for Stacy and Don and the accountants or consultants that work with us, pro advisors, you guys have a partner program and something for accounting professionals?
Absolutely. We have an Avalara's partner program. It's a reseller program for consultants. We also have what's called the Avalara Accountants Advantage program that provides some benefits to them from a content standpoint and information standpoint, allows them to pass on discounts to the customers that they refer to us. And I will say, you brought up earlier that CPAs, accountants, and consultants don't want to take the risk of sales tax. Well, we'll do that.
Exactly.
We get referrals every day from CPAs that say, I don't want your sales tax problem.
Right.
I want you as a client,
Yeah.
but somebody else has to deal with the sales
We
tax.
like that you take them.
Yes.
We love
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah,
One less thing to worry about.
Yeah.
it is.
So where can someone go to learn more? Can we list the websites for, we do it on the show all the time, so if you wanna.
Yep, you can email marketing@avalara.com, and you can just go directly to www.avalara.com. And
Right.
from there you can see tons of
Right.
customer stories, testimonials, as well as access demonstrations of Avatax Live, and as
Right.
well.
But
content
also
demonstrations.
the key
You
info.
guys do the webinars.
Oh, right, live webinars as
Yeah.
well.
Yep,
Wanna
do
sign
once a
up?
month?
Probably about twice a month.
Twice a month.
I do a 30-minute webinar that covers the challenges of sales tax, who Avalara is,
Now you guys answer
and
it.
shows a live demonstration of Avatax working with QuickBooks.
And I want to thank everybody for watching this episode. Also, if you go to radiofreeqb.com and look in the archives, we already have about 4 Avalara specific shows.
Exactly.
We talked about Nexus, use tax, we're going to do that again soon.
Yep.
And the tsunami of sales tax coming
Yep,
with
we
all the
have
IRS changes. So
monthly, we've had
Yeah.
monthly tax compliance segments that
Yeah.
are really super popular. Those are some of our most listened to shows.
if you want to be compliant, just hook up Avalara, whether it's
Yeah.
desktop or QBO.
Simple.
Well, Ian, thanks so much for taking your time and coming on the show. It was a lot of fun, and we're going to hold the shot.
Yep.
Radio Free QTV out.
Thanks for watching this episode of RFQ-TV. For more episodes of RFQ-TV, you can check out intuitacademy.com. Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter, and if you'd like to continue the discussions, you can find us on LinkedIn.